Hello everyone and welcome to another episode. This week I wanted to give you guys an update. A lot has changed, not only in the market, for you guys that have followed closely at all what happened, or at least recently happened here in Florida. We had Hurricane Ian. Thankfully here where I live in Lakewood Ranch, it's kind of the Sarasota area, we didn't really have much happen here. Some trees down, but nowhere near as the damage that occurred south. Obviously Fort Myers being very devastated, Northport, Port Charlotte, so on and so forth. But that's not really what this video is about. I wanted to update you guys on what the market's doing. We're here in October. We're getting close to the end of October, and I've had a lot of questions, emails, texts coming my way, not only from sellers, but from buyers as well. A lot of people are wondering, so what can I expect to happen in this market? Are rates going to keep going up? Are rates going to go down? Are prices going to keep going up? Are prices going to keep coming down? One thing that I found very interesting is that I have a lot of homeowners that aren't even considering selling now or in the next 3, 4, 5 years. But what's interesting to me is they still want to know, because we're all hearing a lot of different things on the internet, podcasts, if you listen to podcasts, the radio, the internet, news, obviously. But they reach out to me because they know I obviously work here in the industry, Sarasota area. So they're saying, you know, really what's going on? I'd like to get your take. And what I always like sharing with people is yes, you'll hear my opinions here and there. I like all my information to be based on facts and numbers, because that's something just you can't make up. It's just the numbers are what they are. So today we're going to be taking a look at some numbers from the Sarasota County as well as Manatee County. That's really all I'm going to be covering in this video. So if you aren't in these counties, if you don't care about these counties, you can still watch this video because it's still going to give you a good gauge of what the market's doing. I think nationwide, all over the country, the market is dealing with even what we're dealing with here. So let's jump right in. So I do want to talk about a recent article I came across, not only in one location. I did a quick Google search on it, and you can find it on multiple different locations. But something that's very interesting, and some people might find alarming, is the recent drop we've had in loan applications. So there's been 29–30% decrease in loan applications. That's really big. So pretty much what that means is there's less people going to a bank to ask for a loan, obviously less loan applications. So one can interpret that many ways. I think just a lot of people are unsure about what's going to happen, where the market's going to go. I've been noticing a lot of buyers right now specifically, a lot of buyers have actually decided to hold off. They're not sure what to do. You know, they obviously, I mean, buying a home is a very big purchase. It's not like, you know, you're going to the grocery store, you're going to Target, you don't like something or it doesn't work for you, you just return it. Yes, you can go sell a home. But the reality is it's a big purchase people are dealing with, and it's a big commitment. So I always tell people, you know, as much as I love selling homes, you have to make sure it's the right thing for you. And really, I don't get paid to make those decisions. I can't decide or tell you what you should be doing. I absolutely can give you numbers. I can give you figures to help you make a decision. But at the end of the day, that decision has to be what's best for you, your family, and your end goals. So starting out, I want to show you guys a graph before we jump into the county figures. And this graph you guys are seeing here right in front of you, it's giving you what the current rates are right now. Of course, these are going to vary some, but this is a website I count on a lot. A lot of the mortgage brokers I work with, they also say it's a pretty reputable place. The main numbers we're going to be looking at is obviously the 30-year fix. So the 30-year fix you can see is at 7.15. Believe it or not, that actually went down from, I believe, last week. Last week it was hovering closer to the 7.5, which is pretty interesting. Now the 30-year FHA, that's another one to look at. It's on the bottom middle. That's at 6.82. And then of course, if you're 30-year VA, if that's something you're interested in, that one's at 6.85. So these numbers, you know, one is going to interpret them in various different ways. Some people are going to look at them and say they're very high. Others are going to look at probably the bigger picture, the historical reality of these numbers, and we're not really that high. If you look at history and how high we have had rates in the past, yes, they're high for right now's time, especially if you're comparing them to what we saw a year, 2 years ago. You know, at that time, I was seeing people get rates as low as 2.9, which was out of this world. But again, if you take the historical numbers and the values of what they have been in the past various, you know, 50, 60, 70 years, the reality is they're not very high when you take that into account. The first graph you guys are seeing here is the months of inventory. So on the very left, you're gonna see from 0 to 8, this is showing the months. So obviously 0 months, 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, and 8 months. And then on the very bottom, you're gonna see the month. So it's broken down by month. So you see obviously November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So this is gonna give you a really good insight as far as the past year and how we are. And you can see pretty much from November to May, we were hovering about 2 months of inventory. And that was, you know, even at that time when I was there, inventory was still flying off the shelves, as I'm sure a lot of you guys can remember. Now, if you look at July and August, you could see the spike. We almost doubled. We went from 2 months of inventory to 4 months of inventory. In September, you can see we're hovering just under 6 months of inventory. Now, going now on October, we're well over 6 months of inventory, but we're still under 8 months of inventory. So again, you can interpret this very different ways, but I think the numbers are already showing we are obviously not in the market we were in the past. The market is certainly shifting or is already shifted to a buyer's market. That's not to say that homes are being given away. Homes, in my opinion, are still holding a very good amount. So I talk to sellers all the time and they tell me, well, yeah, Antonio, but it's not the numbers they were. Yeah, but comparing it to COVID is a very hard comparison to make, not only for home prices, for interest rates, for a lot of other things. Why? Because it's not something that happens every so often. You know, I can't remember the last time there was a COVID, at least not in my time, my lifetime. Not specifically COVID, but a big outbreak like that. So it's not something, I'd say if we were to be fair, it's not very fair, especially if you're looking for real numbers, to make comparisons on COVID. Because again, it was a time and it was not an era, but there was a lot of stuff going on that just was new to everybody. So comparing the market to then, I think is, yes, we're obviously doing it here in today's video, but I think in the bigger picture, it's not the proper thing to do. And I'll probably make another video on that here in the future. And I think if we really break it down like that, we're gonna be able to gauge the market relatively how it is to another either healthy or unhealthy market. But again, I'll probably save that for another future video. So the next graph we're looking at here is the closed price to list price ratio. So on the very left, you're gonna see, it's broken down in percentages because this is, again, the closed price to list price ratio. So this is what the home sold for versus how much they were asking is what it's breaking down. So on the very left, you can see the lower number is 98%, and obviously asking price is gonna be 100%. So again, no surprise to anyone, the market was very strong in January till July. I'm sure you guys can remember, at least I vividly remember it, a home would hit the market, and by the time I called the agent, it was no longer than maybe 30 minutes after. And the agent, I remember, it's funny to me, the agents would tell me, they're like, yeah, we already have over 20 offers right now. And half of those are cash offers, and they're willing to remove appraisal contingency, home inspection, which don't even get me started with that. That's a whole nother topic. But anyways, it was ridiculous. So again, you can see that was pretty steady till July. And then August, you could see homes were already selling for under asking. September, obviously, surely selling under asking. And October, you can really see here where the trend's going. And the numbers the graph we saw before this is painting the same exact picture. So moving on to the last graph I have is days to sell. So on average, how long is an average home taking to sell in this market? Yes, there's still homes that I've seen. Just last week, actually, I was looking at one. It came on the market, let's say today, and by tomorrow it was already sold. Yes, you know, there's still those scenarios. But I'm sure you guys have started to see a lot of price reductions. More importantly, specifically this graph, homes are taking longer to sell. So all the way on the very left, you can see this is broken down in days. So you have from 0, 10 days, 20 days, 30 days, 40 days, and 50 days. So January and February, you could see they were about a little over 30 days. March to July, they were pretty steady and hovering around 30 or under. And then again, here's that month again. If you really look back at these graphs, you can see that August was surely a big changing point. So August, we started coming up. We were pretty much at 30 days. September, we were just shy of 40 days. And you can see October, we already are over 40 days. And obviously, yes, there's homes that are taking longer to sell. There's homes that have been out there on the market for 70, 80 days. And obviously there's some lower, but this is a good average. This is really going to give you a better gauge to paint that picture, whether you're the seller trying to see what you should do, or whether you're that buyer trying to see what you should do. If you ask me personally, do I foresee a market crash coming? I don't. Why? Very simple. There still isn't that much inventory in our market. Yes, homes are still taking longer to sell, but even the numbers we saw, there still isn't a high surplus of inventory. Now, if you told me we had a high surplus of inventory and we were going down the same hole we were going, maybe a market crash would be coming in our direction. I personally don't see it coming. Of course, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't guarantee it. But based on what I'm seeing, I don't see that happening. I also, a lot of a lot of buyers ask me, I'm waiting for the market to go back to where it was. I personally don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we're going to see the prices we saw and we knew of here in Florida of 2, 3, 4 years ago. I just don't. Why? So many people are not only have moved into Florida, but continue to pile into Florida. And it seems like Hurricane Ian wasn't able to, not that we were trying to scare him off, but it didn't scare off anybody. So again, the only way I could see a lot of the crash happening, a lot of the prices coming down, is if people just start just a mass exodus of Florida, which again, I don't foresee that happening. So I'm gonna leave that video here, guys. Hopefully I didn't go and ramble off too much. If you caught anything, you can see I'm pretty passionate about this. I really love reviewing these numbers. Because it doesn't become a he said, she said. We are physically seeing the numbers directly from the MLS. And yeah, I mean, people lie, numbers don't. So guys, I'm gonna leave you guys with that here in probably this beautiful view here in Lakewood Ranch. So thank you guys very much for watching. Again, if you guys want to contact me, my contact information is down below. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Till next time.